If you've been following me on social media or on my YouTube channel, you often hear me talk about a relationship journey and that all couples go through a relationship journey while they are together. And so I thought I'd take some time to share how my insights from my personal journey, my personal experience, and my professional training add value to your journey. So every one of us have some life-defining moments that shape and influence us in terms of our journey, from where we've come from to where we are now in our life. And it was those life-defining moments that got me to where I am now and doing the kind of work that I do, which is being a passionate advocate for having healthy relationships at home, in the workplace, and as a stand against GBV or gender-based violence. So how my story came about is when I was 7 years old, my mom died in an accident, and I then was raised by my father, who at the time I always say that he probably, well, it felt like he died when my mom died as well, because he was emotionally unavailable. So I never really grew up in a nurturing environment or a loving environment, and I never developed the skills on how to have healthy attachment when it came to a relationship or relationships. Then following on from that incident, the next life-defining moments in my life that contributed to me is, as a young child, I was exposed to child abuse or sexual abuse, molestation, whatever you want to call it. And it's not something that I often talk about. And in fact, not so long ago, one of my mentors called me out on this and said, well, why don't you talk about it? Because it is part of what contributed to you and your journey and where you are today and the work that you do. And so I had to really think about that and go, well, why is that? And I realized on reflecting on it that in my mind, I have dealt with it. I'd been to therapy, I'd processed it, I'd worked through it. And I guess on the one hand, I didn't consider myself a victim anymore. But at the same time, I don't talk about being a survivor either. And so that's why I didn't really talk about it. But like my mentor said to me, it's like part of you, you're chopping part of your arm off and pretending that it didn't happen or it didn't exist. And so hence why I am now starting to share that story more openly. It's not that I've hidden it. It's just I didn't really think people wanted to hear about it or that it was relevant or it played a part. But I realized I was wrong about that. So yes, I had to work through that, and as a result of that, how that shaped me and influenced in me in terms of the kind of life that I'd lived and the types of relationships that I had, and which was a string of failed relationships, which got me to getting into the work that I'm doing now. I was in a 6.5-year relationship that had hit rock bottom. We were going for therapy, and it was through that process that I discovered Imago relationship therapy. It had a profound impact on me in understanding how my upbringing had shaped and influenced who I had become and the types of relationships that I was having in my life up until that point. And it was there that I decided that I wanted to learn this stuff and I wanted to teach this and share this with other people, because life is too short to be miserable and unhappy in our relationships, which should be our biggest source of support and nurturing. And so that's how I got into doing the work that I did today, combining my personal journey and my personal story about overcoming adversity. And I love sharing that with everybody that I work with in their personal world and personal relationships, and helping them learn how to have healthy relationships in their personal space, but also how to have healthy relationships in the workplace. Focusing on things like conflict management, communication skills, what I like to call human skills, corporate likes to call it soft skills, but also taking a stand against abuse, whether it's personally or in the workplace. And so that's a little bit about me and sharing about how I got to where I am today and the work that I do, and why I'm so passionate about sharing this work with you and working with men and women across all sectors.